I tell you. Remember, you had to check on that license, that the payment for the Zoom, before
I think that
we.
happening tomorrow, so I'll check and make sure it go through.
Okay. Right. Soon as it say start record, go ahead. You can do. Go ahead now.
Well, this is a real.
Thank you, Navin, for playing that song by Charlene Budram representing Indo-Trinidadian cultural identity during this festive Christmas season. So I want to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, assalamu alaikum. Good evening, good night, or good morning. Season's greetings to all of you. We are so pleased to have people at this meeting from all parts of the world in different time zones. I am Shakira Mohammed of Trinidad and Tobago, a teacher for the past 17 years. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the 291st edition of our ICC Thought Leaders Forum. We wish to sincerely thank all of you who have contributed in whatever way to the success of this ongoing Pan-Indo-Caribbean and Pan-Indian Diaspora Global Remittia project. The 290 unbroken continuous weeks, we have been here every single Sunday. And in the past 5 years, 7 months, and 3 weeks, we have featured 1,169 presenters from all parts of the world, speaking on 290 topics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a weekly forum being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, legally registered research and publishing company operating since 2010. And in order to continue this weekly program and to make it bigger and better, we are kindly asking for suggestions and volunteers. So if you give a donation, your name will be placed on our poster and all promotional materials. And you can contact Dr. Kumar Mahabir for details. I'll introduce our moderator today, who is Shalama Mohammed, the co-director of this ICC Zoom platform, who's a business teacher and researcher from Trinidad and Tobago. She obtained her master's degree in business psychology from Franklin University in the USA. Shalama, welcome.
Thank you so much, Shakir. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, and season's greetings. I want to warmly welcome all of you. Thanks so much for choosing to be here with us. Our program today, as usual, is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on the YouTube channel of the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center. To all of you on YouTube at this time, welcome. To our speakers, we want to avoid intrusions from trolls, and our IT manager, Navin, has muted everyone. So please don't admit anyone, do not unmute anyone, and do not allow anyone to share your screen. We appreciate your cooperation. So we opened with a little taste of what Christmas really is in Trinidad and Tobago. And so today we are talking about celebrating Christmas in the Indian diaspora. In this program, we hope to uncover the distinctive and culturally rich ways in which Christmas is celebrated across the diaspora. Our esteemed panel of speakers will highlight how Christian traditions blend with local customs, food, music, language, and community practices in regions such as here in the Caribbean, in Africa, the Pacific, and beyond. Through historical context and contemporary examples, this session will show the extent to which Christmas festivities in the Indian diaspora reflect adaptation, hybridity, and the creative preservation of cultural identity. And we want to begin today with Dr. Connie Israel from South Africa. Her PhD at the University of New Hampshire in the USA was on multiple literacies and the use of literature in second language development. Her research interests include related models and practices, and we're so happy to have you, Connie. You can go ahead with your presentation for about 12 minutes. Connie, can you unmute, please? Okay, I'm seeing your PowerPoint coming up.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you now. Would you like to turn on your video?
Okay, sure. I'll say hello and then.
Terrific.
Okay, there we go. It doesn't seem to be allowing it. Maybe it's on your side.
No, it's on your side. You can turn on your video.
Okay, but it just does not seem to be showing. I did earlier.
Okay, go ahead. Maybe during
I'll try
after your
one more
presentation.
time, and if it
Yeah.
doesn't, I'll
Okay.
just continue. Thank you. Okay. I'm not sure why that is happening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. You know, Christmas for the diaspora in South Africa. When I was asked to share some thoughts on this, I thought it was impossible to decline. And I will begin by saying that it is a hot Christmas. It's a bright and sunny Christmas here, in which we Indians add to the heat. Firstly, with chilies in absolutely everything. And secondly, by having what we call a braai, which is known to many people across the world as a barbecue. So I must add that as one who, as you heard, studied in New Hampshire, USA, and also lived in the northern regions in the UK, I must confess the traditional white Christmas, cold, wet, and windy, is sometimes a lot more appealing weather-wise, at least. But of course, we'll start at the very beginning, and that is really Bethlehem, and we are all familiar with that. As someone recently said, were it not for Christmas, there would be no Easter. It is Advent that leads to Lent. So the run up to Christmas Day, for many people, carols by candlelight in churches, parks, malls, many markets, pop-up stores everywhere, is ongoing. And some performances include pilgrim choirs with old hymns and modern melodies, singers dressed, as medieval pilgrims inspired by Geoffrey Chaucer's work. So for Indians, who constitute a mere 2.6%, right, 1.6 million of the population in South Africa, which is 63 million, Christmas is about family, food, and fun. The spirit of Christmas is compelling. It brings community together as South Africans and as Indians. And the way Christmas is observed and celebrated is an interesting fusion of both traditions of East and West India, South Africa, and even more diverse global trends. So I'm sorry, I'm just going to try and move here. My slide does not seem to be moving.
Yeah, it hasn't changed on our end.
Yes, I'm just trying to. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go.
Yes.
So essentially, like I say, it's a mixed masala, for want of a better term. So for 25% of Indians, right, it's the church service that really is a must in the morning. It's the first stop in the itinerary, and often at an ungodly hour. It's earlier than normal Sundays, so that everyone can then go home and enjoy that huge lunch, which of course the chefs would have started preparing at an even more ungodly hour. But before we go to lunch, let me just tell you that the church service is quite unusual in format and style compared to every Sunday. There are special hymns and Christmas carols. And, there's obviously a sermon which focuses on biblical passages like Luke 2, verses 1 to 20. Churches are decorated. People are out in their Sunday best and their Christmas best. And, it's really about beginning the day on the right note, in other words. So as the great-great-granddaughter of the first Baptist missionary from Nellore, India, to Kearsney, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, and he was Reverend John Rangya, I can attest to this, that in fact all, the churches I've been to or family belongs to will in fact be holding Christmas services that are very, very special, with special music and musical items, etc. And all of this is generally in English nowadays, but I'll come to that later. So, I want to say that I'm going to just try that again. There we go. Okay. For some reason, it's not registering. There we go. Okay.
No,
So yes, and then I'm getting a little pop-up message right in the middle of the screen each time. So, the lights are on, okay? Everyone is dressed up. Everyone is all sparkly and looking good. For women, it's usually a fusion of styles, East and West, with older generations opting for the graceful sari. And of course, we can all remember as kids going out to get that new set of clothes for Christmas. And here in Durban or South Africa, we would go into town, meaning downtown Durban, to shop at the big stores that used to be, the most popular ones. And inevitably, that trip to Durban would also include an ice cream cone. It would include, a nervous stop on the knee of this big strange man dressed in red. Okay. And inevitably, it would also include getting lost in a store, but those were the days. We would also go to look at the lights in town, West Street, Medwood Gardens, the nativity scene. And of course, later when, there was a possibility of a Christmas pantomime, which brought to life many of the Western musicals that we'd grown to love. But that was then. Today, very few Indians will venture downtown. There are too many challenges, including traffic, safety, crowds, congestion, parking. And I have here, sorry, it only seems to register when I do that. And here's the big man in red that we're talking about. Okay, there we go. But what happens then is we move on to the big lunch, the big family lunch, right? So this is the next big highlight of the day. And many modern families concede to Western traditions here of gammon, turkey, roast veg, ciabatta, some nice bread, and cranberry sauce, and even glühwein, although there's no snow. So there's often a compulsion in Indian families, regardless, to have some chili, to bring in some heat. So it's a blend. It's a fusion of East and West, because you've got biryani often on the menu. You've got special curries like prawns and lamb with roti. No bunny chows at Christmas, generally speaking, unless they're of the gourmet variety. And dessert is usually rich, well-laced Christmas cake with ice cream or trifle. And for good measure, some Indian delights like vermicelli and, other eats. But of course, for many years, this was custard and jelly. Nowadays, people will also perhaps take their entire family out for a full-blown Christmas lunch with a Christmas menu. But what follows next is this, the braai. And sometimes this follows the lunch, or it is the lunch, okay? So many choose the braai over, let's say, lunch or sit-down lunch or dinner. It has several advantages. Many people contribute. Everyone shares in the prep and cooking, and the men get involved. It's a big advantage. They are the braai masters in South Africa. And moreover, there's no agonizing over what to include in terms of sides, right? The host family sets up the braai, a range of meats are brought, buttered rolls, at least 3 types of salad. And for many, the venue is a home or the beach, hot as that may be. And the beaches, in fact, are the destination of choice for many South Africans, Durban being probably the most popular. Even if you can't swim, you are going to the beach. And sadly, this is also where many children get separated from their parents. The picture above, not very good resolution, gives you an idea of how crowded the beaches are at Christmas nowadays. But the braai is a long, jolly affair with extended family, endless jokes, and occasional outbursts on matters more serious, such as South African politics, crime. And for Indians, the thani competition, which is the next item on the agenda on a Christmas day. It's also New Year's pastime, in fact. But this is a card game, which I'm sure you know about. It's like a precious heirloom. It gets passed from generation to generation, and it's probably one of the most absorbing games ever. Quickly separates the fools from the fundis, but everybody has fun. And it can take a while, for it to get going and to finish as well. Often you'll find the older generation cleverly using Telugu, like my parents would, and ultimately sending each other signals and signs and winning the invisible trophy. But no Christmas day is complete without, some popular Western party music, dance perhaps, often nowadays with Bollywood, and of course, African favorites, Amapiano, etc. And then as I was preparing this, I realized there's one other thing that tends to happen, and this is the overseas phone call. So, with growing statistics today, Indian families are all over the globe. And it's a highlight, especially for older folk, just to have those few precious moments talking to some relative, son, daughter, family, all the way in the UK or wherever that may be. And, there's still a quest to find one's roots in India. And nowadays we have the video call dimension, which is quite incredible. But I must, and I cannot conclude without talking about the commercialization, right, that exists alongside the community spirit. And it's at its most evident in all of the above that I've spoken about, but also in gift giving. So this means gift shopping in the first instance. Many Indian families, this is the culmination of the celebrations, right? Some have fireworks, but I think Diwali takes the honors there. But everyone gets a gift, however big or small. And some do secret Santa giving, which helps to keep the expenditure down. Others splash out on lavish gifts, which break the budget. So, it's a time for the kids to sit around, satiated from lunch, and finally tear open those toys, etc. There's a lot of cheer and laughter, and everybody's at ease. And in some cases, never mind church, there's just no mention of the reason for the season, right? And I thought it would be interesting to chat with my dad, who just turned 93, and some of you know, about what Christmas was like over the decades. And, he said, while Christmas is a global event nowadays, initially it was not as well known. And one of the lessons he learned is, how the X in the abbreviated Christmas signals, mathematically speaking, an unknown quantity. but that for Christians, especially for those in his family and in the sort of development of the Baptist church thereafter, it became an utterly special occasion. And he mentioned also that, the hymns that we now sing in English were originally sung in Telugu in those churches. But one other interesting thing is that in the 70s, there was a great focus in South Africa on our broadcasting segments on SABC radio. This was on Christmas Day, let's say, originally run by Pastor Rowlands, J.F. Rowlands, but taken over by Mr. M. Rangya, who was my mom's brother, who was given the task of conceptualizing and presenting an annual program, which therefore included Easter as well. This took months of practice and prep. It would be recorded in advance. And at that point, it had to include other languages too, like Tamil and Hindi. There would be a brief exhortation, and there was great excitement. And you can imagine, how incredible it was for people to listen to people they knew, family members singing on the radio. And of course, in today's South Africa, there is the element of commercialization. Life is tough, our budgets are strained. And as someone said in December of this year, while Christmas is here in all its commercial glory, the money simply isn't. So people are feeling how difficult it is. And it is a holiday dominated by profit, emotionally manipulated advertising intended to suck in naive shoppers, consumerism, and not peace and goodwill being the supreme feature. But it's not all bad, because, it does generate employment opportunities. We've got new ways of doing business nowadays with pop-up stores and interesting markets all over the place. It is a time of giving back as well. It's a time of thanksgiving, of serving, of caring for others in need. Christmas buckets and food hampers are a strong feature in religious organizations and in stores. And these treasures are sent out to rural areas. And in the diaspora, I'd say, giving here is a strong motivator. It builds faith, character, reputation, and ultimately community, as I said. So I can't help but just conclude with, this is my dad, sorry. What if Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store? What if Christmas perhaps means a little bit more? And that is from the Grinch. And I thought I'd just say Merry Christmas and thank you very much in Telugu. Thank you.
Can you read the Telugu for me, please?
Yes, I can. In my own way, Christmas Shubhakankshalu Mariyu Dhanyavadalu.
Lovely. Lovely. It's very interesting. We don't have Telugu so much. I think we have a small South Asian Tamil population that came to Trinidad and Tobago, well, Trinidad, but as far as I know, this is the first I'm seeing of Telugu. Maybe some others would know and be more familiar with it, but I like this. Very interesting. Thank you very much for sharing, Dr. Israel. And we do remember your dad. So all our best to him for Christmas.
Thank you.
At this point, we would generally take questions, but because we have other South African speakers, I'd like to hear from them as well, and then we will go ahead and take some questions and comments from the audience. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Very, very informative presentation, I must say. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Connie Israel from South Africa, and I want to bring another South African now, Dr. Rajendran Govinda. He's a social anthropologist. He serves as a commissioner in the Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Rights Commission and is the global coordinator of the Global Repository for Ancient Cultural Endeavors. Welcome, Dr. Govinda.
Thank you, and a very graceful greetings to all of you from South Africa.
Thank you.
And it's an absolute delight being on this virtual platform to share some thoughts. Okay, now, very interesting. Connie Israel's utterances were very, very interesting, and I would like to expand on that. In South Africa, Christmas, like in the Indian diaspora, is a powerful illustration of how faith, culture, history, and lived experience intersect to create shared traditions that transcend religious boundaries. South Africa is home to a significant population of Christians of Indian origin. Approximately 8 to 10% of South Africans of Indian descent identify as Christians. And as you know, that Christianity remains the largest religious affiliation in South Africa overall. When we reflect on the Indian diaspora in South Africa, it is important to emphasize that it was never religiously homogeneous. Among the indentured laborers and passenger Indians who arrived on our shores were Hindus, Muslims, and Christians, each bringing with them their respective belief systems, languages, and cultural practices. What is interesting to know, and the discussion about Telugu earlier on, it is historically significant that the very first four passengers who disembarked from the SS Truro on 16th of November 1860, the first ship that brought indentured Indian laborers to South Africa, the first four were members of the Devaram family who were Telugu-speaking Christians. So that is a very, very important historical fact that the first four passengers that disembarked from the SS Truro were Telugu-speaking Christians. This fact alone challenges the often simplistic narrative that Christianity among Indians emerged only later or through forced conversion. Churches were subsequently established in various parts of Natal, as it was then known as it was called. And to this day, Indian Christian communities continue to observe major Christian festivals such as Christmas, Easter, Lent, and other festivities. Over time, Christmas has evolved into a global cultural phenomenon. While it remains a deeply sacred religious festival for Christians, it has also become part of a broader season that is embraced by many non-Christians. Desmond Tutu, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, as you all know, stated, "We are different precisely in order to realize our need of one another." And that is so important for us to remember that we live in a multicultural society in South Africa, like in many other countries. And it is very, very important for us to promote social cohesion and nation building and not allow religion to divide us. In diaspora context, Christmas is often celebrated not for theological reasons, but for the value it represents: togetherness, generosity, joy, and goodwill. The fact that everything comes to a standstill during Christmas, the corporate, the companies and all close, most of them close during Christmas. So people are forced to come together as family. Children that are working in other parts of the country or other parts of the world often find it important that they need to converge during Christmas and come home. And it is an opportunity of bringing people together, families together, and so on. So apart from being a religious festival, it has become a social norm for people to come together and that promote family values and so on. I recall vividly as a young boy growing up in a communal environment in Chatsworth. I remember participating in Christmas events alongside neighbors and friends of different faiths. I'm a Hindu, a practicing Hindu, but from a young age, we attended these festivities in the communal settlement. The main reason was because we were all getting Christmas gifts during that time. You know, the local Christian churches and so on brought communities together, and they gave gifts for children and so on. So they were not forcing people to become Christians, but they were showing a phenomenon of coming together in a socially cohesive context. One of the most anticipated moments, like I mentioned, was receiving that Christmas gift. That experience was never about religion. It was about inclusion, excitement, and shared humanity. These memories are reflective of how diaspora communities organically cultivate shared cultural practices. Today, it is common across South African households, Christians and non-Christians alike, to see Christmas trees adorned with lights, homes decorated in festive colors and decorations, and gifts placed under the tree to be opened joyfully on Christmas Day. Just about 1 hour ago, my 3-year-old grandchild went to our Christmas tree at home, right? And she saw all the gifts and she told me, Tata, she calls me Tata, Tata, when are we going to open these gifts? I told her on Christmas Day. Now, the excitement is already being instilled in this home of ours. The Christmas tree, the lights there, etc. And I also took her and my other granddaughter this evening to Christmas carols that was being transmitted here in a nearby park in the area that I live in Malvern. So the local community police forum and other organizations have come together and they had a live band and Christmas carols, and the dull weather and the drizzle and so on did not keep people away. They all came there. All religions, all cultures came together to listen to the Christmas carols and to the bands and so on. So, as you know, such practices demonstrate how cultural traditions travel, adapt, and become embedded within the broader social life in South Africa. And I would like to also re-emphasize or articulate what Connie Israel had mentioned, that from a very young age, we all migrated towards West Street to go and look at the Christmas lights, to go to the beachfront where they had the Newton's games and so on. And we all enjoyed, and it was safe during that time. Unfortunately, over the years, it has become unsafe due to various reasons. But that memory is still embedded in my mind, where we went to watch walk on West during in West Street and look at the lights, the beautiful lights, the decorations and so on. But it's still happening in botanical gardens. There's lights. In various other places, there's lights. Rising Sun, which is a newspaper chain here in South Africa, where their offices are based in Chatsworth, they lit up 2 days ago the Christmas lights for the community that can't go to West Street anymore, where it's much more safer to come to Chatsworth and watch the lights. So it's still happening. Despite being a staunch and practicing Hindu, I make it a point every year with my wife to attend Christmas church service. And every year I choose a different church. I think it's because of the social cohesion, being a social cohesion advocate and being a commissioner in the Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Rights Commission. I find it's more important for me to understand the different cultures and so on. So going to a Christmas mass in a church is very, very important. And I know last year when I went to the Velangani Church, a church in Chatsworth, which has a Tamil name, Velangani Church. So as soon as I went there, and me and my wife went, and somebody from the church asked me which church I am from. So I said, no, I'm a Hindu. They were surprised. So I said, no, but we love to come here and listen. And they welcomed us with open arms. I do so not out of religious conversion, but in the spirit of social cohesion, mutual respect, and nation building. And I think that's what Christmas is all about. This act symbolizes what Archbishop Desmond so eloquently said. when I mentioned earlier, we are differently precisely in order to realize our need of one another. An appropriate analogy is that of a shared festive table. Each faith brings its own dish, its rituals, symbols, and meanings, yet the table itself belongs to everyone. Christmas within the Indian diaspora has become one such table where people gather not to dilute belief but to affirm coexistence. And talking about table, I would like to also support what Connie Israel had said. In our home, during Christmas Day, turkey, lamb roast, Christmas pudding, trifle, and we also had crab curry, right, during Christmas, because that is very popular in the household. So we intermix, and there's a fusion of culinary dishes and so on. So that's what our home is. So the turkey is roasting from the morning and the lamb roast and so on. So our home is transformed on that day symbolically. In increasingly polarized societies, shared cultural moments such as Christmas take on heightened significance. They remind us that identity is layered, belonging is negotiated, and festivals can serve as bridges rather than boundaries. Celebrating Christmas in the Indian diaspora is therefore not merely about religion, it is about history, memory, migration, adaptation, and the enduring human desire for connection and hope. I would like to thank you at this point. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share these experiences on this forum.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciated all that you've shared. It's a very unique approach that you and your family are taking, and I would love to hear more about that. So I'm going to move to our next speaker, but of course, during the Q&A, after all the speakers have spoken, I would like to raise a few questions there, and I hope members of the audience, to all of you all, you'll have an opportunity to make comments and to ask questions at the end of all the presentations. So please have those ready, or if you'd like, you can always put it in the chat. Thank you very much, Dr. Govinda. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring it to the Caribbean before we go back to South Africa with our next speaker. And this is Kevin Soraya from Martinique. Born in the late 1980s in the French West Indies and living in France for the past 15 years, he is a fifth-generation descendant of Tamil indentured laborers, and he's interested in tracing his Tamil roots. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sharing the presentation.
Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah, it came up.
Okay. Okay, so everyone can hear me properly and see me?
Yeah, we're seeing.
Okay, thank you. So salutation to everyone. Obviously, I want to start by expressing my gratitude to Dr. Mahabir and all the ICC staff for giving me the opportunity to share this 10-minute insight about a very interesting chapter of Madras's assimilation in Martinique's Creole society. As a reminder, Martinique is a French West Indies island. It's still under French rule. I also want to give my salutation to all the Global Indian Organization members and our Vice President, Mehendranathan Poinson. So first, I'm going to introduce you to what Christmas looks like for most people in Martinique and in Guadeloupe. We'll see that religion has strongly shaped the folklore, not only for the Afro-descendant, but also for the Indo-descendant. The meeting of two holy figures, which are Sita Devi, the wife of Bhagavan Ram, and Mary the Virgin, is the very testimony of the intermingling that happened when my ancestors landed in Martinique. So, As you can see on the slide, Christmas for most people in Martinique and all over the world, for what I've seen so far, is mostly about food. So everyone in Martinique craves for Christmas delicacies. One noticeable point to make is that everything from starters to the main course, everything derives from pig's meat. The reason for this is that back in slavery days, pig was considered as the lowest kind of meat, and it was the only meat affordable for slaves. The most fortunate ones used to feed a pig near their house, and it became a tradition for people to gather in order to kill the pig for Christmas and to prepare all the dishes. This was one important family gathering moment. Obviously, preparing all the dishes was the warm-up for the rest of the celebration. In Martinique, we've got a word called la ribote. La ribote is derived from a medieval French term which means eating and drinking in excess. La ribote is when it's like a Christmas marathon. It's when one goes to the neighbor's house, no invitation is needed. The point is to share the delicacies that had been prepared during the day. So the first one will go to his neighbors, and then the two of them to the next house, and so until it formed like a big party. The gathering is not only about solidarity and the fact to get together, but it's also about Cantique Noël. Cantique Noël is a Creole term. It means Christmas carols. So the green book that you can see on the screen is equivalent to the Bible. It's mainly a musical where we narrate the story of the birth of Jesus. Even I, who don't identify as a Christian, I know many of these songs by heart. As you know, converting to Christianity was mandatory not only during slavery, but also during indentureship period. So this is how L'Ames Minuit, midnight mass in Creole, became an important tradition in people's life. L'Ames Minuit Christmas Mass is when they recreate and play the nativity scene at the church. So Indians who were forced to convert to Christianism quickly adopted this practice and all the previous I mentioned before. They adopted it, but not without resisting. And this is where the story gets interesting. The remaining Tamil culture still present in Martinique is the result of strategies of resistance put out by our ancestors. I always wondered why 90% of the Tamil songs still known by the community is about and only about Sida Devi. So we'll just watch an extract of a short video and then we'll go back to the presentation. So, yeah.
Avant l'aube, quand l'horizon de l'Est commence à pâlir, tout se calme. Et Sida Devi, la femme du roi, met au monde un enfant que tous les Indiens de la Martinique nomment Jésus et qu'ils vénèrent comme au matin de Noël.
So that's it for the video. It was in French, so maybe most of you didn't understand, but I'm going to explain. What we just saw is an extract from a play that in Tamil, it's called Ramanadagam. It's equivalent to Ramlila. It's a play. Often Tamil people used to gather and organize these plays where they narrate the stories of the deities and the heroes, such as Desingu Maharajan, Markandeya, Harichandran, and obviously the most popular one, the Ramayana. In order to escape the persecution of Christian priests who tried to stop these plays, our ancestors created a syncretism between Sita Devi, the wife of Bhagavan Ram, and Mary the Virgin. One line of a song very, very famous in Martinique, say Madhulakshmi Mangai ceremony. Mangai means in Tamil a young girl, unmarried, and who hadn't given birth yet. So this where we see the parallel between Mary being a virgin and Lord Ram questioning the chastity of Sita when she came back from Ravana's abduction, when she came back from Lanka, for those of you who know about Ramayana. Next in the story, we know that Sita has been sent in exile, and that in exile she gave birth to Lava and Kusha, the twin sons of Lord Ram. The twin sons of Lord Ram. In Martinique, this part of the story got twisted. Sita didn't give birth to the twins. She gave birth to only one child, and this one child would be named Jesus. So we can clearly see that they assimilated Sita with the Virgin and the newborn child with Jesus. This was their way to resist to the persecution and to make sure that the younger generation would know about these stories, and this was a way to pass these stories to us. And that's why, as I was saying, 90% of Tamil songs known, especially in Martinique, the case is a little different than in Guadeloupe, but in Martinique, there is literally a worship of Sita as the wife of Rama from Ramayana. So what we can say is that the last chapter of Ramayana, the Uttarakandam, was the Madrasi version of Christmas back in Martinique. Nowadays, it's no longer practiced anymore. Most of Indian descendants just mix with the Creole population and adopt all Christian rites and cultures that I've described before. What I can say is syncretism often happens when a system of belief meets another system of beliefs pressure. Our ancestors shifted from being Muslim to Hindu to Christian and to whatever religion was imposed to them. So what does it make us today? Is Mariam Taye from South India an aspect of Shiva's wives from North? Is the human brain limited to only one religion? Does religion unite or divide? Well, this is my 10-minute insight about Indian Christmas in Martinique. So now let's hear whatever you guys have to share about my story. Thank you for listening. Nandri Vanakkam.
A very interesting ending comment there, Kevin. Very, very insightful. Does religion really serve to unite us? I think, anyways, let me hold my comments. To members of the audience, we would appreciate your comments and your questions. Kevin, very, very interesting presentation. Thank you for that. I want to take the other speakers and then we will go ahead with the questions, okay? So we've heard from South Africa twice. We've heard from Martinique just now, representing the French West Indies. And now I want to bring Fiji. So Dr. Subhash Apana, who's always with us, and it's Monday morning in Fiji. We're always so happy to have him. He's a public sector reform specialist. He's chair of the Boxing Commission of Fiji and a weekly columnist in the Fiji Times on cross-cultural studies, race relations, identity, and belonging. Welcome, Subhash.
Thank you, Shalima. It's an honor always to join you guys. Like I told you, it's a delight to be listening to all these presentations that happen on your platform.
Wonderful.
I'm not feeling very well, but I'll share with you what we do here in Fiji.
Want to share your screen?
Can you see the slides?
Not yet.
Can you see the slide, Shalima?
No.
Okay, hang on.
No, we're not seeing it as yet.
We had tested it and it was working.
Okay,
Okay, that
here
should be
we
okay
are.
now.
It's coming up, yes. You want to put it into slideshow?
There's a bit of noise in the background. Yeah, as a sort of introduction, Christmas for us involves wearing your best clothes, decorations, balloons in your house, gift giving, shopping, the family feast, and of course the Christmas cards that used to be there. When I was a kid, Christmas cards were a big deal. So you'd hang them in the house. Christmas cards used to come from family all over the world. And that was a big deal. No longer. That is no longer part of Christmas. Okay. Now, the main point is that over time, how lavish Christmas has been has changed with improvements in the socio-economic circumstances of our people. Okay. So these are the three aims of my presentation.
Subhash, before you go on, would you like to switch it into slideshow?
Is it too small?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a bit. Good.
All right. So like I said, circumstances changed over time. So from the Grimitia beginnings to getting the first generation, second generation educated and so on and so offspring educated and so on and so forth, with the improvements in the socio-economic circumstances of our people, the manner in which Christmas has been celebrated has changed. Okay. In terms of population, our population is roughly 850,000. You will see there that how the numbers have changed because of migration, largely because of political uncertainty and migration. So now we comprise about 32% of the population in Fiji, 32%. Okay. In terms of religion, you see that Christianity is the overwhelming majority, and we have about 28% Hindus. Okay. In terms of the Indo-Fijian population, only 6.1% are Christians. But Christmas is celebrated by everyone. Okay? It's an occasion for merrymaking. It's an occasion for bringing the family together. This is how the circumstances have changed. That's 1879 was the first boat of indigent laborers. During this period here, there was absolute abject poverty. Okay, living in the lines, getting minimum pay and so on and so forth, exploitative circumstances. Then, of course, between 1900 and 1921, we started getting South Indians. That's when the focus of the recruiters changed. So this is when we see South Indians arriving. And amongst the South Indians, a large number were Christians. Then from 1921 to 1916, sugar industry became a hotbed of politics. There was political agitation, organizing labor, and then setting up schools, because they realized, our ancestors realized that education was our key to success. We couldn't own land, okay? So there was no real future in that direction. So education was the key to success. And then, of course, 1963 to 1970, we have struggle for equal rights, independence, single-minded pursuit of education. A lot of our people became doctors and lawyers. So in a household which had about 5 or 6 children, there used to be many children before. 5 or 6 children, they focus on one who is bright and sacrifice to get that person educated. And a lot of them went overseas to get educated. Then from 1970 to 1987, there was political jockeying, nurturing the tree to ripen the fruit. That was the tree that was planted by our ancestors. Okay. And of course, it was in full bloom in 1987 when the first coup happened. So that's why I'm saying here the tree was chopped. Okay. We didn't really get to fully appreciate the fruits that had been so carefully planted. Okay. Then from 1987 to present, we have lots of migration. Only over the past 3 years, 120,000 people have left Fiji, 120,000. Okay. There are some who are coming back because there's nostalgia. So sacrifice, hard work, parsimony, future orientation has been part of our in our DNA. So observation of Christmas depends on the socioeconomic circumstances, like I said. The affinity to and knowledge about Christ also gives it some meaning, an occasion to socialize and or celebrate. Degree and type of observation changed over time. The goat used to be part of Christmas. Now we can hardly afford it. You need to have $500 to get a goat. Okay? If there's a goat that looks good, the price will be 5 or above. And people can't afford it. In our family, the goat was a part of Christmas. It no longer is. After my father died, end of story. Okay? Then you have the Christmas party organizations. We had ours last Friday here at the university. And of course, I want to emphasize a little bit on the goat party. This is carefully written by this guy, Raymond Pillay. He has written about it. So you go and select a goat. Then the slaughter itself is a ritual. Okay? You need to have the orni, the cloth, so that you can collect blood in it. And then, of course, it became part of practice that before the goat is fully skinned, that the goat chaser, the blood should be ready with beers. Okay. And of course, then the family lunch and dinner and lots of merrymaking, lots of drinking, everybody gets drunk on that day. Okay, almost everybody. Some of the forces of change, it's like I said, it's heavily family focused Christmas, heavily family focused. When my grandfather was alive, I remember we used to have almost 100 people congregating at his place. Okay, and then of course my father continued with the tradition, but it's died out now. My sisters have migrated. It's only my mother and I. And what will happen on Christmas Day is I'll make something and she'll make something, and the two of us will have a family meal. Okay, it's that kind of changes have happened. So that's the summary of what I've been saying. How Christmas is observed has changed over time. Observation differs only as far as the religious rituals are concerned. There are clear links to changes in socioeconomic circumstances and the content of the observation. Christmas has become more about partying and revelry than about the religious aspects of the occasion. It is a time for family reunion, the office party, networking, making a statement about success. The bigger, the more lavish the party is, showing that successful. Nobody really remembers or cares about how it used to be for the Grimitia and their first generation offspring. Nobody really worries about it. So that's the end of my presentation. Of course, I'll take
And
questions.
Subhash, your last point there is exactly why we are doing this program, because we want to know what it was like back then. I mean, none of us were there. If there were records.
Yeah, there are some writings. There are some writings. And of course, I also encountered two of my great-grandparents. And they said that it was very deprived circumstances. So, you try to cook something that is better than what you usually ate. Okay. And people got together and had a little bit of marijuana, smoking marijuana. Okay, because, and of course, they made jangli daru. I hope that word sounds familiar to you guys from Trinidad. Jangli daru, homemade liquor.
Lots of that, yes. All right. So we're good. They couldn't afford to buy it, yeah. So they eventually use whatever fruits and so on that they have. And it's quite a delicacy now in Trinidad, coming down to the end of the year. So good. So thank you very much for sharing your insights about Fiji. Dr. Pravin Kumar, I see your hand up, but can I ask you to just hold and then we'll take your questions and your comments after. We have one speaker and I'm going to bring her back to us. Thank you very, very much, Subhash. And our next speaker will round up the South African experience, and this is Shireen Govinda. Her family's origins lie in the Telugu-speaking region of Andhra Pradesh in India. Raised in a Hindu household, she has maintained these traditions within her own family. So this should be interesting to hear. Welcome, Shireen.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's quite an honor and privilege to be part of this Indian diaspora and to be able to connect with our lineage globally. I think we just feel this connection with everybody because we all come from the same place. By the way, I must admit and add that Dr. Connie Israel, we come from the same town in a North Coast town in KwaZulu-Natal. It's actually a sugar town, and that's where most of the indentured laborers went to plant sugarcane. And we were actually in school together. So when I saw a name on the list of speakers, I was very pleasantly surprised. The irony of it is that Connie is a Telugu-speaking Christian, and we are Telugu-speaking Hindus. But we met at school, at primary school, when I went to a Catholic convent. So that is the religious diversity that we've experienced, and so open to other religions and the tolerance of our upbringing. So yes, so I just want to formally say welcome to everybody, to all the listeners. And I'm going to try and get my presentation on screen. Not happening.
Did you open the presentation before you tried to share?
Yes, I did. I'm just
You're sharing the wrong screen, so you would have to X that. Right.
oops. Yeah.
Click your PowerPoint now, wherever it is. Where is it?
Can you see me?
We're seeing your screen, your desktop.
We've seen
Not the
all of your
PowerPoint.
desktop, all the files. So you have to
Oh.
search.
So,
You have to search for the one with the PowerPoint and open it.
okay.
Right, I think that's it. Right.
I need to stop sharing.
Right, right. Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to apologize in advance that you're not going to be able to read the text because it's just got messed up. But I will read through it, and I just included some of our family pics and photographs just for you to get an idea as to how we celebrate Christmas in South Africa. So,
Okay, Shireen, before you go on, would you like to put it into slideshow
Full screen, full
so
screen.
we can get it in full screen? Just go back a little. Yeah.
There are two ways of doing that. You can go at the bottom right, and there's something like a wine glass, a screen. Click on that. Bottom right of your screen.
Bottom right.
See that symbol there? Yeah, like right, that. Click on it. Double click. Right.
There we go.
Okay. So, okay, I think I'm just going to talk through this. Okay, so I'm joining from Johannesburg in South Africa, and my story is deeply rooted in the South African Indian history. I'm third generation Indian on my paternal side, on my dad's side, and I'm second generation on my maternal side. My maternal grandparents, by the way, arrived on the very last ship of indentured laborers from India to South Africa in 1911. And I must say, I'm profoundly glad that they did get on board. So, our community narrative in South Africa began 165 years ago when the first indentured Indians were brought to these shores in 1860. They came to work on the sugarcane fields, bringing essential skills. And hailing from the north and south of India with diverse Hindu, Christian, and Muslim faiths, their shared experience fostered the unique South African Indian culture that we have today and we celebrate today. In South Africa, intermingling and embracing global traditions like Christmas are reimagined through a local multicultural lens of African and Western traditions. We share a unique identity built on the cultural diversity and religious tolerance, a cornerstone of our beloved Rainbow Nation in South Africa. The religious significance of Christmas is while Christmas holds deep religious significance for Christians who commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ through carols, church services, and midnight mass, it's the themes of love and togetherness resonate across all South African communities. The religious observance for believers, the season is a sacred time to reflect on the Nativity, often marked by candlelight services and celebrations of faith. In the universal themes, beyond its traditional roots, Christmas has evolved into a widespread cultural event. People of various faiths and backgrounds embrace the holiday as a special opportunity to focus on family and friendship, strengthening bonds through gathering and shared meals, gratitude and respect, reflecting on the year's blessings and showing appreciation for loved ones. And the spirit of sharing, it's participating in joy of gift giving and acts of kindness towards others. The summer Christmas lifestyle that we are so fortunate to have, while many associate Christmas with snow-covered landscapes, South Africans celebrate under the summer sun. December marks the height of the school holidays, where many parents taking their annual leave to enjoy the season of reflection, of gratitude, and community. The festive build-up is packed with social gatherings ranging from corporate functions and neighborhood braais to pool parties and beach picnics. It is a time for gift giving and honoring those who have provided support throughout the year. Rooted in the spirit of Ubuntu, the season also sees a significant increase in outreach programs and charity drives for the less fortunate. Across the country, shopping centers are transformed with festive decorations and the sound of carols with outdoor living at its peak. Thousands of families migrate to the coast, making Durban and Cape Town the primary hub for holiday celebrations. On your screen, you'll see some pictures of the charity drives that we do a lot before Christmas. Like I say, it's a time for Thanksgiving and outreach programs as well. We have more pictures of the outreach programs. We have a multicultural culinary feast in South Africa. A South African Christmas culinary feast is a vibrant reflection of the nation's Rainbow Nation. Identity where diverse cultural traditions blend seamlessly with a celebration of summer heat and outdoor living. This multicultural spread is less about specific menus and more about a generous fusion of influences, typically featuring both classic European roasts and local African, Indian, and Cape Malay cuisine. The key features of the feast is the adaptation to our summers and our hot Decembers. The core element linking all traditions is the climate. Heavy roasts are often balanced with light, refreshing salads and cold desserts, or replaced entirely by outdoor braais. The spirit of sharing, the custom of Ubuntu, extends to the dining table, with large platters of food designed to be shared generously among extended family and friends, irrespective of the background. Beyond the menu, The feast is defined by, once again, this Ubuntu, that's this culture of sharing and giving, where families prepare large quantities of food, not just for themselves, but to share with neighbors and those in need, reviving a sense of extended community during the holidays. The Christmas Eve, the final countdown, is the day before Christmas, is typically a whirlwind of activity. South Africans flock to local shopping malls for the last-minute gifts and ingredients. Kitchens become the heart of the home as families prepare marinades for the braai, set jellies for trifles, and prep complex salads to save time on the big day. The Christmas feast, the main meal is a multicultural spread that balances heavy European traditions with light summer appropriate fare. The starters start off with social grazings is key, featuring curated cheese boards, artisanal dips, biltong, and savory snacks. The main event, a massive variety of proteins, often include roast lamb, stuffed turkey, glazed gammon. In coastal regions, for a lighter option, it's baked fish and grilled prawns. The accompaniments are normally beautiful summer salads and roast veg. Desserts are often layered trifles and homemade, by the way, homemade Christmas pudding, which my mum so lovingly made every year, and we following her recipes. And gift giving, families often have a staggered approach to gifts on Christmas Day. Children are frequently allowed to open a few presents on Christmas morning to curb their excitement, while adults typically exchange gifts after lunch. Family games, once the plates are cleared, the afternoon is dedicated to family versus family board games, lawn games like 30 Seconds, Pictionary, or garden cricket. This competitive yet light-hearted atmosphere is the highlight of the day, filled with laughter and bonding. Yes, alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages in abundance, more of the alcoholic type, I must add. In conclusion, I just want to say, for all our cultural diversity that we share in South Africa, as Christmas traditions go, we South Africans are pretty much the same as the rest of the world, or similar. However, while the essence of Christmas celebration may be similar, we put our own African spin and flavor on things. Finally, no matter where you are based in the world, remember, when it comes to Christmas, if you are surrounded by loved ones, how you choose to celebrate or decorate is inconsequential. From the Indian diaspora in our beautiful Rainbow Nation, we hope you have a Merry Christmas filled with love, joy, and peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shireen. A very, very nice way to sum up the South African experience. And what I think you brought very different to the table is that whole culinary experience. You encapsulated what I think happens in many countries, the European roast with the African and the Indian, but you all have the Cape Malay cuisine, which does not happen for us. I mean, in Suriname, they have the Javanese, which is different, but very, very similar is what I'm seeing. You also talked about the pool parties, the beach outings, charity drives, caroling at the malls, and so on. Family fun. Family is happening everywhere throughout the diaspora. So very interesting. Thank you very much for that.
My pleasure.
We're going to take your questions and your comments now. And like Dr. Pravin Kumar, I'm going to ask you to raise your electronic hand. So please go to the reactions button at the base of your screen. You will see a raised hand icon. Just click on it. So I'll know that you would like to ask your question or make your comment to the speakers yourself. So Dr. Pravin Kumar, go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. I'd just like to carry on from what Subhas said about Fiji. And I think you mentioned that how did the early generation celebrated Christmas. So it was the times of poverty, and probably as long as I can remember, when I was a young child, around 1972, there was a thing amongst the Indians that they would keep couple of goats for Christmas. So they would rear the goat, and this Subhas would know it was a delicacy. And so that carried on. But even during that time, I remember that people who had goats and they were poor families, people would then give them what we call a saucepan or sispan, Subhas would know. And they would give a saucepan or sispan full of meat so that other people could make goat meat. And so when I grew up, when I was a teenager, my job used to assist my uncles in I know this might be sensitive to some people. Chop the goat and strain the blood. And it was, by the time the goat was probably skinned, the blood would be made in a frying pan or a pot with a lot of chilies. And the first bottle of Fiji Beta would be opened. And then, we'd fry the goat meat, etc. But going back to those days, say from the 1970s till about late 1990s, a family, especially my family and my extended family, they were big party time people. So Christmas would not finish till the goat's stomach was fried and the goat's head. And my job used to actually be assisting my aunties to clean the stomach of the goats. And I was just talking to an elderly person yesterday, and he said, Praveen, do you miss those days? I said, mate, don't talk about it. I said, I still miss the taste of all those things. So those were the days, but coming back to those days when the Girmitias lived in what they call the CSR lanes, in Navua and Suva, and then my whole of western side in Ba, Latoka, Tavua, Rekireki. It used to be very hard times, and so they used to make alcohol very secretly. And women, I don't know how. My mother used to tell me. I mean, she's 87, but my grandmother and some of the other grandmothers I knew, they used to have firewood stoves we used to call chula, and they used to get fine sand or sand from the beach, and they used to make Christmas puddings, Christmas cakes, and Christmas cakes was a major delicacy that time. And yeah, though that's a bit of a background, but everyone participated during Christmas festivities. And I remember even when I was in primary school, the school teachers would organize with some of the village headmen or the Ramayan Mandalis or any other committees, and they would organize some sort of hampers for the poor people in the village. And that was the spirit of Christmas back then. Subhas did not mention the Fijian way of doing a lovo. We dig a hole in the ground and then we put a lot of firewood, and then you put hot stones, and then you cover it, and then you make either lamb or goat, or they used to roast the whole pigs, especially the Fijians, and that has become very common among the Fiji Indians. And I can bet the bottom dollar on Christmas Day there'll be so many lovos done in Fiji, Australia, New Zealand, USA, Canada, Alaska, or any other country where they have settled. So that's what Christmas was all about. And yeah, and at times I used to feel sorry when I was young because the women would be cooking from like 6 a.m. in the morning till midday in the heat, and those wooden stoves, and the corrugated iron roof and walls. But yeah, it would happen. Yeah. So that's where I leave it. So Merry Christmas to everyone, and Bula.
Thank you, Ula. Subhash,
Yeah, yes.
you talked about the goat party. So did
Yes,
he aptly describe the goat party?
yes, it was ritualistic. Okay, everything had to happen one after another, step by step. And I remember taking the stomach to the sea to clean, and the sharks would come because somehow or other sharks go crazy when good stomach is being cleaned, or any stomach for that matter. So they would come, they come for me, but because the water is shallow, they get stuck. That's what part of the excitement was there.
So all of this with the goat was happening on the beach.
No, the best place to clean the stomach is take it to the sea because like it's easier.
Okay.
After
Okay.
the ceremony, if you like, then of course the boys would go to the sea.
So, like you all, the goat is important to us too, and it's quite a delicacy. So, that goat stomach is done in curry and it's called pachowni.
Yes.
Is it the
Yes.
same?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, we call it pachoni too.
Yeah, good. Ken Selene, your hand is up.
I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and it's always a festive season for family to get together. So it's good for us to get together. I just wanted to say that I went to a Hindu temple in India, and there was a picture of Jesus in the temple. So I asked my colleague who was taking me through. I didn't know that you would renovate or worship Jesus, So he said, of course, Hindu, they're very open, and there are thousands of gods. In fact, he said, you yourself, Ken, might be a god, and you could have people worship you. I said, well, I don't really want that. And the other significant thing is all of this talk about food is really making me hungry. But there was a lot of talk about the goats, right? And if you remember what the story of Jesus is, the first people that found out about Jesus from heaven were shepherds out in the fields. They were the first ones, and Jesus is also known as the Lamb of God. So it's very symbolic that, the lamb became the sacrifice. So I just wanted to mention that as just, in the spirit of the season.
Well, thank you, Ken. Whenever the lamb is barbecued, or as in South Africa, they call it braai, I've just learned. I don't think they're thinking about Jesus. I think it's just what's available at that point in time. But thank you for raising that. Dr. Arnold Thomas from St. Vincent again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're
Yes,
hearing
and you
you.
can turn on your video if you wish.
Okay.
Season's greetings to you and everyone in St. Vincent.
Okay, I got it. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, greetings from St. Vincent and Grenadines. I don't have any questions, but I'd just like to make two brief comments about our Christmas here. First of all, going back to Indian tradition, the village I come from, in the old days, on Christmas Day, one end of the village would come up to the other end without invitation. Everyone is expected to come up, and they would be provided with a lot of cakes. And guess what? Black wine. And black wine was the main thing that you're after. And you know what black wine is? It's made from molasses. So everybody used to make sure they stock up with a lot of black wine. And that was a tradition. Then on the following day, which is Boxing Day, that end of the village would go down to the other end, and they would be treated the same way. No invitation. They would come and eat and have a lot of, and as somebody mentioned, there would be a lot of cooked food and also goat and pig, And so that was part of the tradition when they would go from one end to the next. Okay, the other thing I want to mention about St. Vincent, which has become unique now in the Caribbean, and that is 9 mornings. I don't know how many people have heard about that, but like the 9 mornings or 9 nights before Christmas, there is now a public celebration in the square in Kingstown, and in recent years we have 9 mornings being celebrated in all the areas in St. Vincent, and 9 mornings is both a religious and a social occasion. It starts about midnight, 9 mornings before Christmas, and that's when a lot of things happen there. There's competition, there's eating, drinking, serenading, and all of that stuff. So it's very religious and very social, and that continues until the night before Christmas, not Christmas morning, but the morning before Christmas, and it's become a very, very attractive occasion for tourism, and it's being promoted a lot by the tourism sector. So now we know if you really want to have a good time for Christmas, come to St. Vincent for 9 mornings. Thank you very much.
Noted. Noted. We're familiar with the 12 days of Christmas. So I'm very surprised that you all have this 9. You've reduced it to 9. Dr. Thomas is looking at cricket or something. You're on? Okay. Okay. So let's see in the chat. I'm not seeing any other raised hands, and you're welcome to please do raise your hand and give us your comments about what happens for you at Christmas. 9 days. Okay, so Sita, what is that about? 9 days before, like the novena. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Mahabir.
Okay, I'm just going to start the conversation. Others like yourself, Shalima, can contribute to talk about the uniqueness of Christmas in Trinidad and the Indian cultural contribution to it. Well, like most parts of the world, we have the lighting of Christmas trees, the gift giving, the Santa Claus dressed in red, and fireworks. But here in Trinidad, we have bamboo bursting, in which some people, it's disappearing now, cut the trunks of the bamboo and they make a little cannon and they fire off these cannon at a loud explosion around midnight during Christmas night. We have our own sorrel. We make sorrel drink. We have paranging, where musicians, a choir goes around house to house. But that's not particularly Indian. What is Indian is that it's really manifested in the food. A lot of curry, dal puri, roti. Sita asked about vegetarian. And for Christmas, you must have curry duck and curry goat. I'm surprised that you have that name Pachoni in Fiji because it's also here in Trinidad, but I found it more so in neighboring Guyana. And what is unique in Trinidad too is the chutney music. A lot of chutney music, rum drinking, dancing, get together, family, dining and visiting each other. A special day, this one come by this one, Boxing Day, that one go by this one, Christmas Day, and so on, right down until the New Year's. And some who are musically inclined will bring out the dolak, the drum, and the dantal, and the harmonium, and do some music making. So that's all I can think about. But for Trinidad contribution, Shalima, you want to add anything? Or
Yeah.
Shakira,
Yeah,
or
Shakira,
others,
would you like to add anything?
or others from
Sure.
Trinidad.
Because my mother-in-law and my husband, they're Presbyterians of East Indian descent, and what would happen for Christmas morning is that we would go to church. So all of us would attend. There's a lot of Hindu names for the churches. The church we went to is Arunodaya Presbyterian Church. And the reverend and the congregation, there would be a lot of singing, and the children especially would be a part of the program. So there would be preparation. They would have a little program, a little song from the younger ones. And then the children that are around 11, 12, they would have their skit of with they play with Jesus and Mary. So each year the children would add a little piece each time. And then in our experience for the last couple, let's say 10 years, actually, there's, as earlier today for this program, when I entered the program, I was telling Kumar, there's the Santa truck is passing. So during the weekend before Christmas and 2 weekends before Christmas, there's lots of companies that come together, lots of organizations that come together, and they've got Christmas trucks with lots of music, the soca parang, as they were playing earlier on, the chutney songs. All of these are being played, and the children rush out to go to collect the toys. So they are already getting toys 2 weeks before actual Christmas Day. And the entire community comes together. So where I had previously worked, we all came together, wrapped the presents for the children, and they went on the huge trucks and were passing around. So it used to be, sometimes they would meet another truck on the way and everybody's greeting each other. So it's so much fun. Lots of noise, but so much fun. And it's a beautiful time.
Yes, it's good that you mentioned the toys. What we have these days is a lot of China-made toy. But as I remember, a little boy growing up in the countryside in Plumitan, we would make a lot of our toys. We would make the spinning tops, right, from a tree trunk and so on, just like we make our own cricket bat. And we would make our guns, but these were pop guns made from bamboo. And we would use the flour from from some type of tree. I can't remember what that tree is now. But we would make our own toys, and that creativity has disappeared, unfortunately. Yeah. I see Daryl has his hand up.
Yeah, let's hear from Daryl about his Trini experience now in Texas. Daryl, go ahead.
Unmute.
Well, actually, I'm back in New York City. I left Texas.
Okay.
I was only there for 2 years. I think it's important to note that many, I would say most of the traditions, the Christmas traditions in Trinidad, is enjoyed by everyone in the community, right, regardless of race or creed. And it's been adopted wholeheartedly by the entire Indo-Caribbean community. So things like Christmas traditions like sorrel that Kumar mentioned, pastels, even ham for those who eat it. I don't. But my point is that these traditions are wholeheartedly adopted by the entire Indo-Caribbean community, including those of us amongst the diaspora around the world. And to say that it's Indo-Caribbean may not be quite correct, but to say that we are part of it is absolutely correct. And I remember growing up in Trinidad that all of it was part and parcel of who we are. And we never made distinctions about Indo-Caribbean or Afro-Caribbean or any of the other races. It's just a Trinidadian. So I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you, Daryl. Let's
Well,
hear from Shani in
there are a
Jamaica.
few like the paranging. It's not distinctly Indian or Indo-Trinidadian activity. You have a few people who participate, but it's not really Indian.
Let me add that one of the big things in Trinidad that people don't talk about is winemaking, particularly in the country areas. People make wines for Christmas from all the different fruits that we can find in Trinidad, and often there's competitions for the community to figure out whose is the best for that Christmas season. So that's one of the things that I've been part of in Trinidad, and I'm not sure how many of you do make wine or not, but it is a tradition in the countryside.
Okay, so for us non-wine drinkers, I know of it. And to add to that, it's not just fruits, Daryl, it's also flowers. Hibiscus wine is a big thing now. But what we didn't hear from anybody was ginger beer. Christmas
Yeah.
is not Christmas unless you have two beverages, sorrel and ginger beer. Sorrel is essentially from a flower. So, Dr. Thomas, yeah, I'm sure you enjoy our ginger beer as well. And black cake. I
And
see
the
people
sponge
make
cake.
Christmas pudding, but our black cake is essentially a lot of fruits, all the different dried fruits that you could think of, along with some cherry brandy for those of us who don't really drink alcohol. And for people who do have alcohol, they lace that black cake with alcohol, rum of all kinds. Shani,
Yeah.
do you all do that in Jamaica?
Yes, greetings everybody. Of course. People start soaking their fruit now, perhaps for next year.
Yeah.
And you have it in a large container and they top it up with red label wine or white rum, so that by maybe a week before Christmas, they actually start to do Christmas cake as well as Christmas pudding. So one is steamed and one is baked in the oven. And that's the reason why I was watching on YouTube, because I actually had cakes in the oven. So yeah, but I was listening. But yes, I think I just wanted to add that in Jamaica, we also have something called John Canoe. And it's almost like a masquerade. So you have Pitchy Patchy, Belly Woman, Policeman, and these are almost like playing jokes on people within the community. And what they do is they're at the stoplights and they collect money from you. And as a child, I was terrified because there was one called Horsehead and it was pretty scary. But, I saw them on the road 2 days ago and it was very nostalgic. I'm glad to see some of the traditions coming back into Jamaica right now. Same kind of foods that you were talking about. Curry goat is a must. You have to have curry goat on Christmas. The sorrel, the ginger beer. We also have chocolate tea, which is grated cocoa pods, lovely on Christmas morning, as well as roasted yellow yam, which we call afro yam, and salt fish. That is a Christmas morning breakfast with boiled eggs. And of course, during the day, the typical ham. Jamaicans have a love-hate relationship with pork, so you either eat it or you don't. Or people will say it's not pork if it's ham, etc. They will try and get around it. But Christmas, it's just a time when everybody comes together. The Christians will go to church, and that service is usually very early. So, growing up, that service was at 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was very early. And some people go to midnight mass, which means they would go Christmas Eve instead to Christmas service. Let's see what else. Boxing Day is definitely the beach day or the visit relatives day. And it's potluck, so you all take what you had left over from Christmas to somebody else's house and you sit down, and that's when you just relax and chat because you're just exhausted from Christmas Day itself. Yeah.
Great, great. That's nice. But
You
it's
realize
not
you
it's
realize
not
that for the Indian diaspora, the water still remains very important. I mean, Boxing Day sometimes is a
Yes.
river line in Trinidad.
Yes.
Or the New Year's Day is a river line.
Yes. Same. Whether it's the
Actually,
river or the sea, yes, it's a must.
yeah.
Yeah, not a sea lime in Trinidad at all, unlike South Africa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
I
really a
haven't
beach
heard
thing.
anybody going to the beach for
Yeah,
Christmas or New
yeah.
Year.
No,
But
Boxing
certainly
Day
the
for
river.
sure. Boxing Day for sure.
Okay. So Ashley, let's hear from you.
Everybody hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. I feel like everybody kind of just talking about mainly curry. But growing up in a very Indian home, an Indian family, I think one thing we cannot do without is roti. There is
Yes.
there is nothing you can make. You can make curry chicken, you can make duck, you can make anything, but the first thing everybody gonna ask for is roti. Where is the roti?
And Ashley, is that basap shot or is that dal puri?
It does not matter. Roti is roti. You can make basap shot, you can make the paratha, you can make the dal puri. Once there is roti on the menu, everybody is happy.
But not the naan roti, not the naan.
No, no.
The Sara
No, but
roti.
yeah, but like real Trinidad, like what we grew up with, like what we are accustomed with, the Trinidadian style roti. Because naan, I believe, is more
Indian, yeah, you are correct.
Indian from
Indian, yeah,
yeah.
recent.
But what we grew up with is what we know to make, which is the dal puri and the paratha, etc. So I feel like once there is roti, everybody is happy. I definitely think that is the main thing. And then like another thing that I wanted to mention was to add on to what I think Daryl was his name, or Darren from New York. The sense that we look to say this is Indo-Caribbean, I think we have emerged to a point that everybody is one at this point. Because even as I said, growing up in a Indian household, some of the things that are on the menu is things like kalaloo, which is not really Indian, you know. When everybody drunk out after the morning of drinking, you make a fish broth, and that's more the evening time. And those are things that are not really Indian, but it's Caribbean. It's now Caribbean. It's now part of our culture. It's now part of who we are as a people. So yeah, that's kind of like what I wanted to add it. Yeah. Every Christmas there has to be roti on the menu. Sorry to say, it has to be there. Otherwise, everybody vex, or somebody will go and make it. Food don't cook, but somebody who not reach, where the roti? It are no roti. All right, hold on, I'm coming back. They're going in the kitchen to get the flour to make the roti. I'm telling you, that's how it goes. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for adding that, Ashley. Let's hear from Rajan in Suriname.
Rajan, you
Rajan?
can turn on your video if you want. Yep. You're muted.
Oh, we're not hearing you,
We're not
Rajan.
hearing you. You're not muted, but somehow I don't know it's your device.
You're unmuted, but we're not hearing you.
Something in his device. Unfortunate.
Oh, no. And we would have loved to hear from you in Suriname.
Yes. Check, no, I don't know what to tell you.
Navin?
So, Navin, tell him with the audio, the symbol by the audio, if he can click
He's
it.
unmuted, so I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah,
you need to check
the
to the
problem is
bottom
his
right.
device.
Check your bottom. If you're on a laptop, you can check to the bottom right of the screen and see if there's a little mic icon
Or
there.
see
and
if
you
the
can click on
volume
that.
is on for him. Rajan?
The mic, is the
He can
mic
keep
on?
hearing us.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
we'll lose him. All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoots. Rajan, here's what. Would you mind just putting it in the chat, please? We'd love to hear what happens in Suriname. Thank you. Carolyn, go ahead.
Carolyn, unmute.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome. Carolyn, you need to unmute again. Good.
I used to live in Fiji, but now I live in New Zealand. But I think Dr. Subhash and Praveen did share some nostalgic memories from Fiji. I think we carry on the traditions, and for me, it's like we do celebrate with the goats, we do celebrate with the lovo. I think we carry on. I just wanted to say that does not leave behind. Wherever we go, we carry that, and that personifies us as Fijians. And in New Zealand, we have a very unique way to bring families together as Fijians. We do the barbecues. I think they missed on the barbecues. That's also on the menu. I grew
that's
up in
true.
Suva City. So, goat way, very limited, but barbecue was something that we enjoyed. Even the lovo, and that's something we do carry on Christmas over here as well. I think it's a great, to what Shrinan was saying, it's no longer that Indo-Fijian or Indo-Caribbean that has left behind. It's just a Trinidadian or a Fijian, because that's how we have carried on our traditions. And over here in New Zealand, today I'm at my mom's home. My only thing is to pass on that to my coming generation. I have an 8-year-old daughter. So having up a Christmas tree, having the presents, making the chicken in style of lovo is something that I want to pass on as traditions. And hearing this, it just personifies us. So it was a great pleasure to hear that. Thank you for making me part of this, Dr. Mahabir. I think I connected with you in regards to my research, which I'm doing at the moment. And it just brings on, how we have traveled across the world as, Girmitias and ancestors and descendants of Girmitis, and we carry on the traditions and we try and bring everybody together. Thank you.
You can message Shalima and or me, and we can consider you for a topic sometime in the future to present.
Thank you. No
Yeah.
worries.
Thank you so much for sharing, Carolyn. I had a question for Dr. Rajan Govinda.
Rajan is here, Baldev from Suriname.
Yeah, I know. But this is for Dr. Govinda who spoke.
Okay.
And
Okay.
my question is, you are a Hindu who would go to a different church every Christmas morning, you said. And I wonder how many non-Christian Indo-South Africans go to church for Christmas? And what would influence that?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Yeah, I know there's quite a few colleagues of mine. They've also engaged in this practice. They go there basically for the purpose of learning and to experience the Christmas feel, because what we experience is more commercial, because everything that we have been speaking about today is very commercial. The presents, the Christmas trees, the gifts, the food, all those experiences are very commercial, which is a global phenomenon. However, the spiritual element is to go to a church and experience. And similarly, if you want to understand a typical Hindu festival, you would go to a temple during Shivaratri or during Kavadi and experience that. So in South Africa, there is a tendency of a number of non-Hindus that are attending Kavadi festivals, for example, just to have an experience of that. So this is what we are promoting. There's also a mosque near my house. Every year on Heritage Day, which is the 24th of September, where they have an open day at the mosque, and they invite people that are non-Muslims to come to the mosque to see how namaz is performed and to see how the Muslims perform prayers and so on. So similarly, during Christmas time, there are a lot of people that are invited by Christian colleagues to come to the churches to experience that. So I know there is a large number of people, but it is more out of experiencing another faith. And I think that's what we need to promote, because we may all pray differently, we may all worship differently, but ultimately we are praying to God in different forms. So I think we need to encourage this, we need to encourage, because religion should not be a barrier, but it should be something that is bringing people together.
Yeah,
Thanks.
indeed. Thank you very much. You made an interesting comment. You said everything comes to a standstill during Christmas. So people are forced to come together. Now, we know the positives out of that, but I wonder to what extent Christianity has really dictated through our colonial past and continues to do so, because we are still all stopping business, stopping everything, and just getting together at Christmas. The same does not happen at Diwali. The same does not happen at Eid.
You
But it's
see,
happening because of
that
our colonial
particular,
past, I think.
yeah, because most countries are very much westernized and they follow, Christmas is like a necessary or a public holiday that is practiced in most countries. So it is during that period where people take leave, where firms close and so on. So it gives an opportunity of people of this thing. And it's similarly, and something similar happens during, very interestingly enough, during the Easter weekend, right, in South Africa, for example, when the indentured laborers were working in the different fields and so on, the sugar mills in South Africa closed during the Easter weekend. From Good Friday to Easter Monday, that entire weekend, it was closed. So that was the only time the indentured laborers were given leave, and they congregated at temples and so on, and a unique phenomena emerged where, for example, during Good Friday right up till Easter Monday, the temples where festivities were happening. So they created a religious festival out of convenience, because that everybody stopped working during that period. Similarly, during Christmas, where the firms close and so on, and then people take leave, and this is the time where people come and they bond and families get together and so on. It is more out of a type of a convenience mechanism.
Yeah. So very, very good point there. It's the end, it's the beginning of the end of year celebration, at the end.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It runs into the new year. So between Christmas and New Year, celebration, holiday,
Correct.
relaxing, family, get together.
Yeah, thank you. So, Dr. Pravin Kumar, you raised an important point on the chat, and I'd like you to come on and just verbalize that, please, about Rabi Island and so on.
But remember, we have Rajan waiting from Suriname.
Okay. Let's just hear from Dr. Kumar first, Dr. Pravin Kumar
Yes,
first.
just a quick comment that lady made about roti. And so it's the same in Fiji, right from the time the Girmitias came. So roti, puri, and then as people became more wealthier, then dal bhari roti or dal bhari puri. And someone said, I think the Commissioner Rajendran, about why Christmas became like a stop holiday and Easter. Same for Fiji. So Christmas and Boxing Day, everything was closed, probably 145 years ago. And that's how Christmas came into being. And someone said that the Girmitias celebrated Christmas in Fiji. They probably were not, but they participated in Christmas. I did a presentation just last week. So the first Girmitias who came in 1879, they were taken to a very small island called Rambi. It was owned by Captain John Hill, but then it was owned by Levi brothers, or Unilever is today. And in one of the description, when one of the British commissioner went to that island, he described the island as the gardens of Queen Victoria in UK. And then, the drinking of alcohol and participation began in another place in Fiji where the Vancouver sugar mill ran a sugar mill for many years. So there's a bit of history. And someone said about vegetarian food. Yes, there were many vegetarians, even in my family, and they would not eat any meat. So they used to make arar dal and different types of dal and bean curry and bora curry and jackfruit and breadfruit curry. And also bara, bhajia, saina, all these were common dishes. And as we became richer, people started to make paisam and other dishes and savories. So that's just in summary. Thank you very much.
Wait, what is paisam?
Okay, payasam is made out of moong dal.
Oh,
And so you fry the moong dal, you use a bit of ghee, and then you use milk. So you have to cook it over a slow heat. It's a South Indian
I
what you
see.
call dessert, and then you can add your what you call badam in I'm just saying almond, and then you
Mhm.
use almond flakes, so even crushed almond, and you can use sultanas, and
Mhm.
so you can eat it hot, or like I prefer, I put it in the fridge and make it cool or cold. But yeah,
Mhm.
paisam, you might call it in probably Trinidad and Suriname.
Very
Some
good.
people call it, they've changed the name a bit. They call it paisum. So, but paisam is the word. It basically went from South India. So, but it's very common these days amongst us
Mm.
Fiji Indians, even weddings and birthday parties and stuff like that. So yeah, that's
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Let's hear from Rajan. Rajan,
Oh, Rajan, yeah. Oh my God.
is Rajan able to?
No, no, no
No.
audio. Rajan, you got to fix
Okay.
that for next time. Sorry.
All right. So let me just read what Rajan had put on the chat. He says, Namaskar, season's greetings from Suriname. Christmas time in Suriname for Hindustanis is more of a social time with the greater family at gatherings. Nothing religious, but great family time. 25th and 26th of December are holidays down here. So plenty of time for families and friends meeting in family setting. No presents, no Christmas trees, no decoration, no lights, some local Creole dishes, but nothing particular. Hindustani and Javanese food are mostly served. Very different.
Good, good.
Someone is trying to say something here.
There's a lot of alcohol consumption for Christmas
Yeah.
in Trinidad, and I guess most places.
So the dal puri, I need to come to Fiji to taste authentic dal puri. No, you need to come to Trinidad for authentic dal puri. And then we'll compare it with that from Fiji. Okay, so Carolyn is saying paisam is made from moong dal, sago, coconut milk, almond, condensed milk, and cow milk, etc.
Wow, that must be delicious.
In South Africa, something is made with vermicelli and eaten with papad. What is that? Paisam is like a laddu, Navin. Liquid, like sawain. Okay, so right. So it's a dal or sawain. I was very surprised with the amount of sawain, what we call sawain in Trinidad, the amount of sawain that was served at almost all the manders, I think, that we had gone to in South Africa.
Yes, that's
The
true.
wine is generally here served on Eid Day and generally by Muslims only. I mean, Hindus do from time to time, but definitely at Eid, both Bakra Eid and Eid al-Fitr, you will get sawine, and at Mauluds and so on. So it's generally associated with Islam in Trinidad, very different in South Africa. So thanks, Carolyn. I was trying to remember the recipe. Vermicelli is used to make, yeah, sawine. Oh, yeah, and then we have pancha creme in Trinidad too. Thank you, Ashley, for reminding us about that. Good. If anyone else would like to make a final comment, please just go ahead, unmute, and do that. Rajan is saying only 4% of local Hindustanis are Christians, making only a slight impact on how Hindustanis in general celebrate Christmas. Yeah. Very interesting. So we in Trinidad, despite being Hindu or Muslim or Christian, Christmas is celebrated in different ways, but almost everybody celebrates it. So with that, I'm not seeing any raised hands. I'm not seeing anyone trying to unmute. So from us, all the best for the rest of the
Well, I
season.
think Daryl has his hand. Daryl, if you can be quick, please. It's past 5 o'clock.
Mute. Hello.
Yes, Daryl.
To ask for a recipe for paisam, if they can share a recipe for paisam. I would love that. I want to try it.
You want to try it? Okay. There it is from South Africa.
Terrific. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think Carolyn put up something similar, her Fijian experience. So yeah, so Merry Christmas to all of you and all the best for the new year. We'll see you then. Shakir?
Thanks, Charles. Our topic next Sunday will be holidays, health, and wellness in the Indian diaspora. So we look forward to seeing everybody next Sunday, and we wish everyone happy holidays.
Navin will play.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And of course, we are not going to leave you without some music, some local Trini music for Christmas.
Which is
All the
chutney
best to you
parang.
all.
Chutney as not in the condiment, but as in music.
Well, this is a chutney soca parang in a combination style with Franny from Los Dinamicos. And the hero from Shakti, the mashup crew. Here we In a big parang fatin maruda, Amici Rala Meneva. He tell me the parang so sweet. He just could not resist the beat. He said, Parosin, give me your hand. Let's not miss the music of this parang band. Parosin, dance with me, Lucky dance with me. The parang so sweet, I want to move up my feet. Parosin, dance with me, girl, dance with me. The parang so sweet, Parosin, dance with me.